Hey, sis. Today you're going to hear the story of how Caleb and I met and why he chose me straight from him in his own words. It's extra special because today is Caleb's birthday. And instead of me just telling you about him, I wanted you to meet him and hear our story together. We're diving into what life was like for him single and on the dating apps, whether he had a type, what went through his mind when he first saw my profile, what he thought when he learned I was saving sex for marriage, and what ultimately made him commit. So if you've ever wondered what a godly man is really looking for, or even doubted those men still exist, this conversation will encourage you from the guy's side. Grab your coffee, get cozy. Let's get started. Hey, Caleb.
Hi, sweetheart.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. How is this a birthday present for me?
Totally a birthday present for you. You're going to get so much love after this podcast. Are you ready to get started?
Yep. All right. All right.
What was life like for you when you were single?
I had not dated a whole lot in my youth. Like, didn't date in high school. In early college, I was pretty focused on my studies. And I forget what age. I think I was either getting close to 30 or just past 30. And I was like, I am not meeting anybody. And I got dating apps were becoming a thing. So I started on there, went on a lot of really bad first dates, met a couple people that I connected with, but nothing that uh, worked out in the long run. And then I was working, taking a class here and there, playing video games. And uh, also, just definitely feeling that loneliness, like, is there somebody out there for me? We talk about we want witnesses to our lives. And I definitely felt like I was not uh seen by anyone. Like no one really knew me or knew who I was. I mean, family, yes, but even then there's like a Uh, oh, I can say that Michelle knows me inside and out much better than anyone else in my life does.
Yeah. One thing that came to my mind as I'm listening to you talk is you said that you want to be known, you said that you want to be seen. You also said, I'm not meeting anybody. And that's what my clients say. That's what the women say that I
Mhm.
talk to. So, is it true that guys like you, guys that women want to marry, are just hiding out at home, taking classes, working, playing video games? Like, are they just not socializing? Like you're
Well,
like, where are you guys?
so I'm pretty introverted, right? You know this, right? And so I think like during those time periods, yeah, the outside of class or I was in a Bible study, church, like I wasn't going out to any bars or clubs or any of like the stereotypical uh social event. We would do like LAN parties where my high school buddies would come over and play video games together, but like that's not a place to meet women.
Yeah.
And
So basically, the only way I would have found you is online.
yeah, well, and you were half a continent away, but
Mhm.
so yeah, we had that working against us.
Yeah. From what I'm hearing, women should take some encouragement that they're not crazy. If a guy is introverted, if he has kind of more solo interests, really, you've got to maximize your presence online because that's how he plans to find his person.
Yes. I mean, there is that kind of movie hopefulness. Oh, you're gonna have a meet cute with somebody. somewhere and bump into them in the library or a coffee shop or something. And it definitely, you know, wasn't happening. Like I
How
had way,
often were you going to coffee shops and libraries?
and I mean, I used to go just hang out at when Borders bookstore was a thing. I used to
Oh,
just go and
there we
hang out
go.
there.
I am gonna pull this note that guys like you do hang out in bookstores and maybe coffee bars or whatever, and they are too secretly hoping for a meet cute. So take heart. I have an assignment I give to all of my clients. Talk to 2 men this week. You never know, ladies. That meet cute could be something that he's looking forward to.
I'll also mention I told my sisters at the time that they were really like not doing their job because they had never tried to set me up with any of their friends or,
Right.
and that is another thing, like strategy wise, like if you meeting people of the opposite gender that they may, even if like they're not your person, they might have a friend, right? They might meet, just meeting more people expands your social network, expands your reach to increase the likelihood, like, oh, I know someone you'd be perfect for, or
Yes.
who would be perfect for you.
Preach, preach. Let me ask you this question. It's sort of a very specific question that I hear from a lot of women. Did you have a type you thought you'd end up with or you really wanted to end up with?
Uh, I will say, yeah, I did have a type, and it wasn't like anything that I had like sat down and written down on paper or anything. It was just, you know, when you're on the apps and you're like, oh, I like this person, I like this person, I like this person, right? And when I'm talking type, there's physical type, there's mental, I knew I wanted someone who was intelligent, could keep up with me. Michelle is an engineer or was an engineer like when we started. Like that was like, oh, okay. But yeah, in terms of physical type, yeah, I think I did. I wasn't married to it though, because uh and Michelle knows this, when we uh she was didn't fit that type when we started talking. I mean, I still thought she was beautiful, and I still thought like, oh yeah, that doesn't hurt talking to somebody. But I'll say yes, I did have a type, but like it doesn't mean anything in the long run.
Mm, yeah. So, one of the things that women wonder is, am I his type? Am
Mm.
I his type? Is this gonna work out for me? Is he
I
going to brush me aside?
I don't I think that type, if we're talking about that, like once you've got your foot in the door, so many other things become more important than any sort of like quote unquote type.
Mhm. Okay, that's good to know. Can you just tell us, as a guy, what was your experience like on dating apps?
Uh Not great. And I had tried a few, the also I'll mention dating apps have changed a lot from when I was on the market. Um, but my experience was, like I said, I went on a lot of really bad first dates. Um, there was a lot of uh people that I was like, oh, she's beautiful, her profile's funny, or there were like things that were attractive, and I would write a message that I thought was like thoughtful and uh, you know uh, uh, evocative, and nothing. Never hear back. Right. Most of the people I would write would hear nothing back. And sometimes you'd be talking to somebody and then they just disappear, the whole ghosting thing. And it's literally like, what did I don't know what I said or did. And they just are gone. I did uh make a few connections. Like I I had a girlfriend for a little while that I met on the dating apps, and uh, made a couple other friendships. So it wasn't all doom and gloom. And Michelle and I met, right, and that's like the ultimate payoff, in the end. But there was a lot of sending out, casting a net into the void, and not getting anything for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
So,
I also didn't have a dating coach. Like, I mean, it, you still have our original dating profiles framed in the kitchen. So I mean, you reading mine, you have recommendations for like, oh, this could have been a lot improved.
I saw the profile and I was attracted to it. I recently got hired from a dating app as a dating expert, and I'm looking at current profiles today, and I'm looking at them through the eyes of my clients. And some of the profiles have very big plugs for their faith. Like they describe their faith as being the most important thing to them. They're looking for a woman of faith, and that's really present and predominant in their profiles. Also, a lot of them nowadays I'm starting to see a lot of professional photos, like
Mhm.
beautiful lighting, really excellent high res visuals in the profile. And it's just really impactful. And I think that any guys listening today, like, I would do those 2 things for sure. If you wanna make your profile stand out, if you want to decrease your time on the apps. Let's talk about what you thought when you saw my profile.
I don't remember every detail, but I was on a camping trip, and you had messaged me, and I looked, and I the first thing I saw was that you were in Michigan, and so
You were in
I had
Oregon.
yeah, and I'm in Oregon. You're in Michigan, like I said, half a continent away, half a country away, and I had tried doing distance a couple times before, and it's really just in general frustrating and unfulfilling. And so that was like, yeah, I had, when you set your range for like person you're looking for, you can set like how many miles away or whatever. And I had recently really ratcheted mine down to just nearby. So I was thinking, okay, this isn't going to go anywhere. But you had you didn't just have okay pictures. You had really good pictures. And your profile was smart. It was like smart and funny, right? Like it was definitely not the run of the mill. I like this, I like this, I like this, like this. I'm looking for this, and this, right? Like the you had a narrative in there, and you mentioned a couple specific interests that like you said, you like board games, um, which were indicative of the kind of person that you were, right? And like they were like hooks that I could latch onto and relate to, and like, oh, okay, maybe we would have something to talk about then. And so I remember we started writing back and forth, and then you ghosted me. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess she's gone. I guess, oh well. And then came back like a week or two later, and things like we just really had really good chemistry, really lit a fire in each other, and uh, the rest is history, I guess. And if I didn't say it before, I had the thought, well, just talking isn't going to hurt. Like, even if this doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't cost anything just to have a conversation.
Mhm. I get a lot of questions from women who a guy reaches out to them, the conversation gets started, but then he stops writing back. And so my question for you is, what was it about our conversation that made you want to keep talking to me?
I mean, it's honestly, we had so much chemistry, and you were enticing and just so much. It was so good to talk to you, right? Like I would come off of each conversation feeling great about myself, feeling uh very masculine, like you were highly complimentary. And we didn't, in especially early on, didn't have any sort of conversations that were unpleasant or made me, uh, it was just green flags all the way down. Yeah, every time we talked, sparks were just flying.
Yeah. One of the things that I teach is just that I want you energy, like that excitement,
Hmm.
that electricity that when I met you, I was like, I know I have to make him feel something.
Yeah, I just remember, like, I think I was at like 5 a.m. in the morning, and I left you a voice recording about how, like, you just made me feel oh, more like a man than I ever had in my entire life. Like I wanted to go out into the woods and start chopping down trees or something. Like that was I think was one of the key marker points in our early communication.
So I guess the takeaway is I want you energy, make him feel manly, and just be exciting, be enticing. If that chemistry, if that, electricity is not there, I I seriously doubt the conversation will continue.
Yeah. I also, neither of us we really played like we didn't play any games. Like there wasn't any of like oh try to be hard to get or um, you know, uh
I have to wait an hour before I text him back or
yeah,
6 hours
or
before I text him back.
yeah, just there wasn't any like you were always so happy to see me and or to talk to me, the and that felt really good. Like all of the energy I was putting out was coming back to me. I wasn't just paying into the relationship. Like there wasn't like it's just I didn't feel like I was like constantly chasing somebody who wasn't all that interested or wasn't like I would invest and then you would invest back. Like
Mhm.
the and we had a couple like really like long heart to heart talks, really, I mean, relatively early on. And one of our biggest early talks was about Myers Briggs. We were both interested in personality typing. Um, and it was fun. It was exciting to be able to have like those like intellectual conversations about ideas with someone who was as engaged with it as I was.
Every woman is capable of creating that if she
Hmm.
learns how to show her values, show the uniqueness that is her, and drops the busyness, like, "Oh, I've got all these things going on, I can't get back to him." If she drops that, if she leans into confidence and believing in her own desirability, that would be projected. Because when I met you, I wasn't the stereotypical beautiful, Cameron Diaz, tall, willowy, skinny, blonde, blue-eyed. I mean, I wasn't,
Hmm.
but I believed in my desirability and I showed my full body and my plus size dresses and I felt beautiful in those photos and because of that, I was able to communicate that.
It was a distance relationship, and from the beginning, we did have to be very intentional about that. We had what, like 3 or 4 date nights scheduled every week.
It
um,
was just 3.
it was just three. Yeah,
It
so
was game night.
we would have a game night. So we had a Bible study night, and then I figured out how we could like watch movies together through Google and they would be synchronized so that we were both seeing like the same thing. And so we would do like a movie night.
Mhm.
Um,
We'd go to restaurants together, like,
oh
you'd
yeah, we
go
did
to
that a few times. We did that a
a
few times.
hamburger restaurant, I go to hamburger we'd go to
Yeah, we both picked like the same type of restaurant to go to. And I'm sitting there with my food and my camera in front of me doing FaceTime with you on the other end. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, the
And we visited quite a fair bit. Like every 3 months, we would see each other.
Yeah, yep. Was it as soon as the first 3 months that I went out to Michigan for the first
Yeah,
time?
so we started talking in June 23rd, and then you came out in August.
I will say with that, like there were definitely times, uh, and I think you have probably talked about this before, where uh, our relationship needs were not being met because of the distance involved,
Hmm.
and uh, there, and like I said, very like dissatisfying to and you have to know what you're getting into with that sort of thing.
Yeah. And really not blame it on the other person, right? Like, that's one
Right.
of the things I had to learn, like, it's really not his fault that he can't be here to make chicken soup for me when I have the flu, like, he's what, 3,000 miles away, but in that moment, all you want is the person that you love there with you, and in fact, let's move to that question. We talked briefly about the chemistry that we created together. I'm wondering if you can tell from your perspective, how did that chemistry come? Like, some people say it's either there or it isn't. I know for my part, I was doing a lot of flirting so that it would show up.
No, it was very much like being able to talk to you about things and have you engage with them and not be like you weren't bored, you weren't uh talking
Mm.
over me, you were listening and responding and engaging, and that was pretty huge for me. Just because I don't get a lot of that in my life.
I do think that that is sort of the superpower of an ENFP to be able to engage with any topic, but it's something that and the ENFP is my personality type, but anybody listening care about the other person. Listen, hear. When they share with you, absorb it. Realize that they just offered you a treasure. Because I feel like a lot of times I see this. Oh, he started talking about this, and I was just so bored, and he went on and on and on about it. And I'm like, babe, that's your opportunity. Don't miss opportunities like that. If he starts telling you about something, he wants you to hear him, he wants you to see him. When did you wanna take me off the market? Like, I want her to be my girlfriend. I love her. Like, let's answer that question.
Okay. So that happened, boy, was it a month and a half? Where we were on a phone call and we had been it was like so late and we just kept on talking, but like finding like excuses to keep talking. And it was time to hang up and it was time to go. And I confessed, I feel like I should say, like, okay, I love you, goodbye, you know, and and I told you, and I was kind of phrasing it like more like a potential scenario or like I don't know. But then you were like, well, we can say it. It's okay to say it.
I think I
And-
said there are so many kinds of love because we have
yeah,
been talking about C.S. Lewis's 4 Loves.
that's yeah, that's right. Um and so then I was like, okay, I guess we're doing that. And so then I said, okay, I love you. And we ended our, and you said it back to me, I think, right? And so we ended our call, and it it kind of like a little bit took me by surprise, like that, like that we were already at that point, right? And so and like so from that point on, then we were in like a relation, like an official relationship. I don't remember exactly when we marked it on Facebook, but um I also say this like from the very beginning, like your love and your faith in me was just so deep and so precious. Like I felt like I had to protect that. My biggest fear was that I would break your heart somehow. Um, and still is, really.
Hmm. What made you? Like, what made you love?
I it wasn't any one thing. It was uh we were compatible on a lot of levels. We shared our weaknesses with each other, and they weren't um like what's the word I'm looking for? They weren't
Deal breakers.
deal breakers. Yes, exactly. They weren't deal breakers. Um, so that was a whole like we've talked about being seen. Like you knew me, strengths and flaws, and I felt like you recognized my value and also and accepted me for who I was.
What do you think made us click so quickly?
I think we were vulnerable with each other.
Hmm.
That was a big thing. But also vulnerable and become accepting with each other. We had gone through similar hardships, so there was some bonding over that, and we were both ready, you know,
Hmm.
like we were. Uh, yeah, it was. We were at a time and a maturity level in our life where we wanted this.
Yeah. I think this is very interesting because the kinds of questions that we're talking about right now are very feeler questions like, how are you feeling? Like, like, how did you fall in love? And you're answering like, we can just say like you're an INTP. So, like, this is a little bit outside of your wheelhouse. So, you're doing really well. Why don't you dive into the logic part of your brain and maybe the analytical part of your brain, and what was the moment where the sentences in your head started saying, like, I want to commit to her? Like, what was it like? What happened where you were like, I want to commit and marry her?
Like that specific phrase, I don't ever recall going through. I do recall the first time I said, I think I could marry this girl. Um, and that was on our trip into Michigan.
Right.
And
The first trip,
the first trip, yeah, the first
three
trip.
months after knowing me.
And we went into it like, I was trying to go into it with my eyes open, right? We were already in a committed relationship by that point. But it was still, we knew each other through what we had self confessed and there's still like you can try and be as authentic as possible when you're talking to somebody, but that you're still just pres they're still seeing what you're intentionally presenting, right? If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it was an opportunity for um and you were especially in the spotlight because I was coming into your home,
Mhm.
meeting your friends. So I was getting a better picture of who you were especially. And I think you know this, like the first couple days, like there were some good things and there were some bad things where I was unsure. Like I was like, okay, like I don't know if this is gonna go the distance, right? But on that third day, before I went back to the um airline home, we had gone to the local pool and it was storming out. So they later on they made everyone go inside because they're worried about lightning or something. But we were out there and just having a good time in the water, kind of laughing and giggling, and uh, I just remember holding you and thinking I could marry this girl.
Mhm. Yeah. Why?
I don't know. I just that was the moment, you
Yeah.
know? It was it was easy. Like the and just I felt connected to you.
Yeah. I think like if we ask the question why, it's like go back and listen to the beginning of this podcast. Listen to the podcast, listen to the story, listen to the narrative. The love poem, like the love story that was written. It was, we think like, oh, I just have to turn this lever or say this thing or do this thing. And that's just not the way it is, right? It's being in the right place at the right time, in the right moment of your life, and then having enough similarities to put in your love bank together where you can like, oh, I could see myself doing this with this person, doing that with this person. And then enough differences like an INTP versus ENFP differences to make things a little bit charged and electric and interesting.
Mhm.
But then enough care and compassion for each other to feel for both of you to feel safe.
Mhm.
And then combine that with the intelligence and the intellectual um compatibility and like just all of that combined, and then you
Well,
combine it with like putting your arm around someone and like holding them, like that's all you need.
the and we've talked about like our journey. There were so many things like in each of our paths leading up to the point that we our paths crossed and then carried us forward. Like it was definitely a God thing.
Mhm.
Like there was circumstances were very much a tower of dominoes or something.
Mhm.
Um, and if it hadn't played out exactly how it did, then we wouldn't be together.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So that's our story. Now I'm going to ask you a few questions that some of our listeners are going to want to hear. So we just want your opinion on them. They've heard my opinion. Um, what did you think when you found out I was saving sex for marriage?
Oh, I thought it was great. I had been doing the same thing. It really is a mark of character, and also a mark of, uh, that you had beliefs and not just giving lip service, or you weren't just like a nominal Christian. That you were actually putting your faith into action, um, and that was yeah, a positive thing.
Yeah. So many women are concerned that saving sex for marriage is going to turn guys off. But then there's, like listening to you, you were a virgin, you were saving sex for marriage. Like,
So
like,
I get that. Like the narrative among guys is like, oh, if a guy is a virgin, right, like then that means he's not attractive to women, right?
mm,
And that it's not sometimes it's not expected that he would be or should be. Um, and so I don't agree with that
yeah.
either. The
Was being a virgin like a requirement for you? Like, what would you say to the women that are saving sex for marriage now but aren't virgins?
It was not. So like I had dated people before who, well, one was divorced, and one was, that they had a past and had repented of it, but I wasn't strict about it. Just so long, it was important that if they were looking for a hookup, then I wasn't interested.
So you were looking to save sex for marriage, but it wasn't, you believed in God's grace, you believed in God's forgiveness, and you were more looking for a woman who was just walking in obedience. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this question. It's kind of a a different question. I don't know if you've thought about it too much or even you and I have talked about it too much, but I'm a black woman, you're a white guy.
Mhm.
And many Black women have told me that they feel like men don't pursue them as much on the dating apps. Like I see questions like, is race a barrier here? Like we're an interracial couple. You
Mhm.
have some experience with um maybe the Black world that you didn't before.
Mhm.
How would you encourage a woman How would you encourage a woman who feels like race is holding her back from finding love?
So, uh, that is tricky. And I definitely, Oregon is what, like 98% white or something. So the I had not experienced a lot of multiracial interaction, right? As far as whether race was a barrier, I think in our case it was. One thing is we were very similar culturally, right? Like our skin tone didn't matter so long as we were coming into the relationship with very like similar cultural experiences. So I guess that was never yeah, much of an issue for me.
Yeah.
I never had a like, whoa, that's like totally different from we've had a few since we've been married where I've been like, wow, that's really outside of my experience as a white American. But I definitely wasn't being hit over the head with it
Hmm.
um
Yeah.
throughout our relationship.
So would you say it might be possible that race is not holding you back because people may not be really taking that into consideration as much as they think?
Uh, it was for my case, yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
I would say, it used to be on the apps that people could say what race they would match with and what race they would not match with. And some people I remember seeing some people would match every single race except Black or African American. And so, in that sense, it can feel like race is an obstacle.
Mm,
But to me, like, nothing is going to stop you or hold you back from the person that you're meant to be with, right? So those people that would put that kind of selection, like, oh, I'd be with every race except Black, they're just doing you a favor and letting you know upfront and quickly they're not your person. And don't worry about the people that are not your match.
and it's so there's also there's a lot of focus in the narrative about like how big is your dating pool,
Yes.
right? And honestly, having a super huge dating pool doesn't necessarily serve you
Mhm.
because it really makes it there's a lot of people who are just looking for like the next like, oh, there's so many other people out there. I don't know if this one is good enough or so I'm just not even going to or like, oh, I see one yellow flag, I'm gone, right? You don't need a huge dating pool. You just need one person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's got to be the right person, but you just need the one person.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I like to tell women is the next person that you meet that you're really attracted to and who's really attracted to you and that you're really compatible with and that like you enjoy spending time with each other and you're feeling a lot of chemistry with, the next person you meet with that's like that, you're gonna marry them. Right? You don't need to meet 10 people like that, right? The
Mm,
next person you meet that you're compatible, attracted, and have chemistry with, you will marry them. So don't worry that it hasn't happened yet. Because if it had happened, you would have married them. And I think that saves us from a lot of angst because we're like, oh, I've never felt this way before. And the reality is that's the way it's supposed to be.
mhm.
So Caleb, last question. Do you believe there are other godly, high caliber men out there who want
Oh,
marriage?
yes. I am not that special. Yeah, no, they are. Um, they might need a little work. They like you said, they don't have dating coaches, right? But they are trainable. I think Michelle has proven that. Like that um sometimes, they don't get trained necessarily fully housebroken until after marriage. But they they at least have potential.
Mhm. Yeah. So for the women that say, there's no more godly men out there, I just want to meet a God fearing man with good intentions. I don't even know if they exist. What would you say to her?
I would say that God is good and he has good followers. And um, I mean, yeah, like then you probably should visit more different churches because there's a lot of churches out there and a lot of single people in those churches.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, amen. All right, ladies, wasn't that fun? Happy birthday, Caleb.
Oh,
I
thanks.
promise you there is a cherry pie waiting for you. I hope Caleb's perspective gave you some encouragement and clarity as you write your own love story. And if you enjoyed this conversation, the best birthday gift you could give Caleb, and honestly, the best way to support this podcast is just to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with a friend who needs hope for her love story. And if you want to send a shout out to Caleb, a birthday wish, or a request to come back on and talk some more and give more advice,
But
send me a message.
maybe next year.
Thanks again, Caleb. And thank you, sis, for spending this special time with us today. Just remember, God writes beautiful love stories, and yours is still unfolding. Let's get you married, sis.
Take care.